why don't we talk now about that, about what's going down in Norfolk here. So we'll start there, and then we'll go to the Austin Hayes update. If people were expecting that Jackson was going to go down there and hit 330 for the rest of the season when he was called up, I think they're pretty mistaken on that. Yeah. I think that's a hard thing to expect. There's no doubt he's having a little bit more of struggles. And I think the one thing we want to talk about is that is normal. And quite frankly, I love that he's struggling. And people might say, like, Ryan, why do you want a young kid to struggle? How much do you learn a lot from the failures? You learn a hell of a lot more than you do from the successes.
Yep.
And when you're a guy that's super young and super talented, where everything has, for the most part, gone his way, you need to have those moments of uncertainty. You need to have those second guesses. And personally, to me, there are some mechanical flaws, but I think this is safe to say, whoever wants to talk next, and Brad, you do it. It's a mental thing. And we go back to it. I can remember what I was doing at 20. I just got drafted and started my pro career.
Yeah.
For you, I don't know exactly what you were doing at 20. Right?
Things I shouldn't have been doing, probably.
Well, exactly. So, and here's a guy that proves the point, right?
Yeah.
This is a guy that's being asked to be the best player, in some cases, in some people's mind, on the best team in the American League. And that's an unfair expectation, even for a number one prospect.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, we talked to Mike Elias about this, and he specifically said that, when you have a phenom such as Jackson Holliday that's experienced nothing but success his entire baseball career, it's advantageous to see him experience a little bit of adversity. And that's what he's going through right now. And I would love to be able to talk to Matt again about, that whole process and how he's talking Jackson through everything. But look, at the end of the day, we've seen it. Every All-Star that even recently, Aaron Judge was in a pretty terrible slump. Cedric Mullins right now isn't batting all that great. What are we going to do? Just send him right on down? No, that's not how that works. So with the way that the Orioles are playing right now, I think it's more of an advantage for Jackson to be able to take his time, get things right again. And then when they bring him back up, I think he's going to be just fine. We saw this with Colton Cowser last year. So I think that we're going to see a very similar thing with Jackson.
Yeah, and the other part too, and just to touch this home, and we can go around if we want to talk about it. The young guys, they're lottery tickets to me. Or if you're feeling lucky, maybe they're chips you want to bet on right here. What do you got? You want to?
Randall just put up here. I like this. He says 6 hits, 15 walks, and 31 plate appearances. Telling me that Jackson's seeing the ball better and more selective. He's on base every other at bat. I don't see a problem here, and I'm missing something.
So I think that's great. So the actual part, even though he wasn't getting the walks in the big leagues, he was having some very competitive at bats. Yeah, he just was swinging and missing at balls in the zone. So what I mean by that is everyone's seeing it. To me, that's not a velocity issue. There are guys that throw just as hard, if not harder, still in the minor leagues. He was tensing up a little bit, but he wasn't so jumpy on pitches. Like, he was taking balls that were this far off the plate. Rocco likes to do this a lot, but there's something right there where when you're able to take a tough pitch, and we say good take, like people say hell of a take. Jackson has having hell of takes. It's just he's missing the ball that he usually drives. And I think that's the point here that we're trying to drive home. And I think that's why I'm not worried about it. What I want to see is Jackson relax a little bit. And is it fair you guys are seeing so far? What do the best hitters do? And I'm going to this is homework for the table over here, and I'm going to switch it over there. What is the best thing you see from hitters? What's a quality if they're going to have success? Where are they hitting the ball?
All over.
Right?
In the gaps. Got to go gap to gap.
Going gap to gap. That was something right now. If you see when Jackson Holliday, when things are going wrong, his body's falling over outside, right? He was pulling balls. He had a couple balls that were hit all right, but his game used the big part of the field because he has the ability to use the big part of the field. When Jordan Westbrook hit his home run the other day, where'd Jordan hit it?
Oppo
Taco, baby. You're a better hitter when you use the whole damn field. And I think that people need to remember that this is a guy that's still trying to figure that out. So, having said that, as we talk about it, Winker went from first to second on another stolen base.
When did Jesse Winker become fast?
I know.
Damn. Well, let's be honest here also. Corbin Burnes does not lead the league in holds and holding runners on at first base. He's got to be probably one of the last ones when it comes to time to home plate from first. But am I missing anything else there? I know we didn't get a chance to talk about Kobe Mayo, and I know Kobe Mayo's crushing it. But the point I was getting at, guys, these are lottery tickets of guys. But there's a reason why guys right now in the big leagues are getting more run is because you know what you have with them. And a guy like Kobe Mayo, even though he's crushing it, the Orioles aren't going to commit to him playing every day. So you got to keep that in mind before the move gets brought up for him to come to Baltimore.
Yeah, and, it just takes time, too. I mean, Jackson tore his way through the entire Orioles minor league system and didn't get a ton of at-bats at AAA before coming up. And so he had to adjust to this major league pitching, which you don't see in the minors. I mean, there's barely any, if any, major league pitching in the minors. So he goes up there. He struggles, but I do think we saw even the defense was coming along. I mean, we saw his defense get better. So to me, he goes down, he's struggling. It just sometimes you got to fail again to experience success. And we've seen Jackson have a lot of success coming up through the system, but it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows when you're talking about a guy who is still 20 years old. And we've seen this trend with Orioles players. We talked about Colton Cowser. You see guys like Gunnar and Adley, even these stars who struggle at first coming up a bit, and then they find their way. It's similar timeline for some. It's a little different for others. But at the end of the day, the Orioles have a good one in Jackson. It's just going to take him a little time. And I think it was never realistic to expect him to come up and immediately hit 330 or do something along those lines. Well, so you got to just figure it out, and he's figuring it out as he goes.
Yeah, and last thing, how many Orioles hit 330 last year?
None. Yeah,
zero.
I believe in Major League Baseball, there was under 10 or 11 players in all of baseball that hit over 300. You could fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure to give you the context. And as we're talking about this, the Orioles are down 1-0. I'm not saying it's the City Connect jerseys yet, but it might be. The National City Connect jerseys I like theirs, by the way. I do too. I think it looks good.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about the Rays ones a little earlier in the week or a couple weeks ago. This Zach, you like the skateboard Ray?
Yeah, the skateboard race, sick.
It is awesome.
But Nationals do have the best City Connect jerseys out there.
I think the Nationals ones are awesome.
Yeah, and also while we're doing it right now, runner on first base, no outs, 1-0 Nats. Rocco, you got an update on Austin Hayes' rehab down in Bowie, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So Austin Hayes, he hit a 2-run Jimmy.
Home run.
I don't know what inning. Yes, well, it could also be called a Jimmy. It could be called a Jack. It could be called whatever you want to call it, Zach. What do you call them in your, the team you play for?
Nukes. I hit nukes.
You don't hit those. Bottom first. So it was Austin Hayes for him, his first plate appearance. Runner on second. And he goes yard over the left field wall down there in Bowie. Anyone that's familiar with that ballpark, that ball's in the trees. Never going to be found again. So it's a big boost of confidence for Austin Hayes, considering what he's gone through this season. And it'll be nice to see a healthy Austin Hayes be able to come up and help contribute to the Orioles this season.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing is Austin Hayes' time to help the team it's coming. Again, a guy that over the last 3 seasons hasn't hit below 250 over those 3 years. He has averaged 18 home runs and over 30 doubles. That's a lot of damn production that you're doing and what you need if you're going to have success. And right now I was going back to that conversation I had about in 2023 for qualified hitters in the big leagues. Do you guys want to take a guess at how many hit over 300 in the big leagues last year?
Hit over 300
for the season?
Yep.
12.
I want to say
12.
Is that do you know that or?
No, I'm just totally guessing.
I'm going to go with 5.
I'm going to say 15.
I said 12.
7.
You were the closest, Brad. 8. Shohei Ohtani, 1. Bo Bichette, 2. Mookie Betts, 3. Cody Bellinger, 4. Or sorry, it's 9. I was right. Sorry. Ohtani, Bichette, Betts, Bellinger, Seager, Diaz, Freeman, Acuna, and Luis Ariz.
That's South Carolina education right there. Really coming into,
Do you really want to get going on this, Rocco?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we talk about it, though, Austin Hayes is a guy. These are production of players. You're going to need Austin Hayes down this stretch run here because he can help in a lot of different ways. And as much as we've loved what Cowser's doing, Cowser's great. He's a fantastic player, but he's going to have his ups and downs too, especially all young players do.